Hello everyone on YouTube. I'm your presenter Mabu Nakagawa. Nice to meet you if you are new. Today, I want to talk about something very risky. You know what? Once you get too deep into it, you're gonna ruin your life for sure. I'm serious. I know, you know, we are right. That's right. Today, we're gonna be going through with gambling addiction. Speaking of which, by the way, speaking of addiction, do you have any compulsive disorder like uncontrollable urge to keep doing stuff that you are willing to risk something you value in the hope of getting something of even greater value? Otherwise, even updating SNS such as Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook is powerfully addictive, right? If you just get intrigued by something that interests you, you are still fine because you can find yourself you are being addicted. You can modify your bad behavior later, but let's say you are enjoying pachinko. You start gambling with a dime, and in the first few times it is okay. You enjoy for your experience. Partially, it's a slot machine, and I mean that technically. So when you put that variable ratio reinforcement schedule, if I remember correctly, and it is very addictive because if you put on a slot machine enough, you will win or you'll never know which pole will reward you. So not only is that addictive, it is very hard to extinguish pachinko out of your mind because there is always something stimulating your brain now and then. You are so exciting for a jackpot. Same as social media, people posting interesting things, and how would you overcome an addictive process? Basically, you can do it by replacing it with something better, right? Even though you are doing unhealthy stuff, you can find your passion for something else. So, for another example, when people studied drug and alcohol use, they often make a typical mistake, which is to try to figure out why they use. That's not the smart things to wonder. We know why we are crazy about gambling. Horse race, pachinko, poker, slot, and something exciting stimulates your adrenaline that produce positive emotion. Quite often, what people have to do to get themselves out of an addictive process is to find something better to do to replace it. So I would say, I think the first things you have to do to bring them under control is to figure out what it is that addictive is interfering with. It has to be something important. What is that? It could be personal. Maybe you want to have a relationship, you want to get married, you want to have kids, you want to have a career that's meaningful. Well, you can't be rattling away on your cell phone like I'm doing. Don't do that. Just set your sight high and make a plan and figure out who you could be. Meditation is a so powerful way to stay away from gambling, but I know it is not. It's not that too easy to stay away from gambling. That's what I want to focus on today. We're gonna break down a mechanism of gambling addiction, and I give you great advice how to move away from it. If you have any further suggestion or comments, I always welcome you. Just leave me a comment down below as always. Okay, so let's go dive into it, folks. Now, quite many people are suffering from gambling addiction, as I told you. When they once get arrested by police for illegal drug use, of course they go to jail. They are under surveillance for 24 hours a day, and of course, there is no pimps who selling them drugs. In other words, that also means they are protected from temptation and seduction of drug use because they never get to have a chance even to grab it. But the problem is that once they are out of jail, drug dealers are waiting for them like stray dogs sniffing around for food. See? It happens over and over again. That's the root cause of why they can't stop addictions. They can't remove drugs out of their mind. Kind of a mental illness, isn't it? Yeah, same as gambling. In Japan, we don't have casino yet. Instead, we have alternative entertainments as well as public managed gambling, such as horse racing, pachinko, mahjong gambling. That's illegal, by the way. Auto race and lottery. Anyone can be addicted when you pull the trigger. So, I don't expect you to completely stop a gambling addiction here. Based on the fact that we can't completely stop it, let me just give you a great story about one Japanese person who lost everything because of gambling. This is a great resource to cover today's video. His name is Mototaka Iwaka. I'm gonna talk briefly about how he ruined his money, reputation, trust, and everything because of gambling addictions. But it doesn't mean I'm looking down on his identity, okay? I'm showing you his biography with respect, dignity, and consideration. I may sound I call him an idiot, but I don't mean that. Please don't get me wrong, okay? So I'm just saying we can learn the mechanism of gambling addiction from the story of his life because it's easier for you to understand and visualize how to keep away from negative addictions. Let's have a look at his background first. So, he was born in Ehime Prefecture and he's from a wealthy family. His grandfather was a founder of Daiyo Paper Inc. It is a very famous paper manufacturing company where went public in 1979. Later on, Ikawasan got promoted for the position as the sixth CEO at an early age of 42. That's a pretty amazing job career, by the way. He had made an incredible job achievement and he was evaluated that he would be entitled to the promotion enough to take over his grandpa's business, and his educational background was splendid as well. Who else could be the next leader of the company? Yeah, from my perspective and my personal opinions, I think at least I can tell you that he met all requirements and expectations, and he was expected to lead the next generation of the company. But at the same time, he came to feel like a tremendous amount of responsibility, over expectations, pressure, and all other mental issues with him. What happened? What the hell was wrong with him? He made one big mistake, which was he embezzled money from his company. So it's like you withdraw some cash out of the corporate banking account and spend for your personal reasons like gambling. His company found that and sued him because he breached the Corporation Act, and he was sued by his company, and after they fought on court, he was sentenced to jail for 4 years. That's pretty strict punishment then. Here's what happened, folks. So his gambling madness ruined his life. If I tell you that simply, the final consequences of gambling addiction is always bad. Pretty terrible. I can honestly tell you that in casino there is no clocks, no windows, or nothing disturbs you but to spend money. They don't want to let you know that the day has turned into night, and you can spend full of weekends on Sunday, on Saturday, and Sunday. So for almost 48 hours straight. What gambling does to you is to turn you into a person that you didn't want to be, you didn't like, or you didn't know either. So no matter how much you earn money from gambling, you end up to lose everything you have made. Totally. Here, Ikawa-san lost $74 million in the end. That's a big money, folks. I can't believe that the individual spent them all just for himself. Then, how would he be able to lose the money? What kind of gambling did he do? Where? We have some public managed gamblings in Japan, such as boat race, pachinko, slot, and horse race, etc. However, his mindset of gambling is not in Japan. Then, where? Where is the hardest spot to gamble? That's right, Singapore. Look at that. Look at the Marina Bay Sands. This is a symbol of Singapore, right? Yeah, the best luxury hotel, the integrated resort where the big pool is mounted on the top of the roof. That's just incredible. And under the ground, there is a world's most expensive standalone casino property. So Ikawa-san had a VIP membership there. He goes to the top private VIP room and starts gambling with enthusiasm. His companies kindly advised him like, why don't you stop it and take a rest? But nevertheless, he doesn't listen. VIP membership is covered for everything he needed. Taking a shower, massage service, and food, everything is there. He doesn't care, by the way. He only focuses on Baccarat. Have you played Baccarat? Do you know much of Baccarat? That's also called King of Casino. Personally, I don't play, but the rule is so simple. Yeah, it's a high comparing card game usually played between bankers and player. So each baccarat success has 3 possible results: win, lose, and ties. Most companies permit you to use credit card, but the player places bets on a table instead of cash. Suppose you're a player and I'm a banker, okay? So if you bet $100 and win the game, you can get $200. You can get a result in a minute for the big money. You don't have to have a professional experience, certificate, or any kind of community. All you gotta have is money and luck. If you are completely out of luck, your life ends. You can lose everything in a moment. That's why Baccarat is called King of Casino. Ikawasan is a very smart guy who went to Tokyo University. He's good at number, genius math psycho. Why do you think he got crazy about simpling gambling? Because his brain no longer functioned when his friends suggested him to stop and go to bed. He doesn't sleep, stay awake for 40 hours straight and keeps gambling whether he wins or loses. That's insane, right? That's exactly a trick of gambling. Yeah, his friends think that's enough because Ikawa-san already won 14 million US dollar, but he refuses. He can't stop it because he already lost $74 million. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? No, he's not. He had to redeem lost his money, lost money from Baccarat. Well, stupid is stupid if I tell you the truth, but because he doesn't even have an airline ticket for going back to Japan, and he took out company's money illegally, and no one is gonna forgive you, right? Yeah, if you are at the same place, you're gonna punish him. But if you were at the same place, you would have had a nightmare, wouldn't you? So Ikawa-san was in the same situation. Afterwards, when he was arrested, he got bashed by mass media so badly because he was a grandson of a founder at Daiyo Paper Inc. You see, for example, when your friend is from wealthy family, his parents are a millionaire or major stakeholders who own the big properties such as land, mansion, automobiles, real estate, and sandboats and stuff like that. And when he is spoiled and ruins everything, you make fun of him, right? Yeah, I would do so. But actually, Ikawa-san was not a spoiled badass. What is he supposed to mean? He was rigidly raised by a strict family, well-educated, super hard worker, diligent, and such as intelligent person as Warren Buffett, but he went to a jail for gambling. You see the big differences between good Ikawa-san and bad Ikawa-san? You can't believe a nice person did a crime. So this huge gap generated the impact on the threats of gambling addiction in Japan. Especially Ikawa-san is a famous business magnate. Public opinion was on fire to his 4-year sentence. I don't know if his judgment was reasonable or suspicious, but he later messaged like he didn't even know why he had an issue with gambling that hurt him more than anything. I'm trying to break down his issues and struggles with the gambling addictions. At the time, he wouldn't have known what that meant, what was wrong. He wouldn't fully understand what was getting himself into. But it sounds to me like I start playing a series of computer games as a child. Initially, playing an hour or two, and then just start consuming my entire life. I play until I'm tired and wake up next morning. Maybe play a game before going to school and repeatedly do that day in and day out. Basically, it should be something like that. Yeah, so if you are in similar or in the process of continuous addiction for some reasons, I want you to feedback your daily behavior and habit so that you can kind of predict your future lifestyle, so to speak. Definitely, you can go through with his documentary or just Google his profile if you are interested. So you can look it up in English translation from Google research engine. So in case you like it, I put a link in the description below. I hope you could find something more interesting. Listen, whenever I start to mention someone specifically, it gets very difficult for me because most of the time he or she still struggles with addiction. Any kind of addiction is not removable, isn't it? So if I am allowed to pinpoint one more person who got addicted, Steve Jobs will be the example of it. Yeah, he was passionate for his enterprise with Apple. Yeah, his brain was obsessed about nothing but how Apple Inc. grew up, and obviously he prioritized his business rather than his health condition. That's why I think he died young. Well, it's quite hard to describe a quality of life because you can't measure or visualize what was worth in life. Not all aspects of quality of life is equally important for each individual or relevant in separate circumstances. Standard indicator can be a health, environment, hobby, family matter, and physical mental health. It's up to you guys. But whenever you choose, that's your life. So we need to well balance our passion with addiction. If you mistreat it, again, you're gonna lose everything in life. Even in life, yeah. So are we on the same page? Great. I guess enough for part 1. So, and in part 2 of my presentation with gambling addiction, I'm gonna show you the detailed road of addiction, how you get deep into it, and how you can stay away. So please keep listening to me if you have chance to stay tuned. Look, addiction is anywhere around you. My dad got addicted to alcohol, and he had a big surgery twice for his liver. But even in doing so, he still drinks. The real issue starts when the addiction starts to hurt you. Maybe you are you are completely out of cash. You file bankruptcy, divorce, and when you notice that your life already ends. When that happens, you no longer have someone to confide, someone to rely on, and someone to lean on when you deal with the struggle. On a flip side, when you win and everything goes well, you may need to start to feel negative because your mindset of having a bad outcome can be ready before you actually have a bad outcome. That's my personal advice though. Before I deal with passive addictions, I always ask myself what is gonna be an outcome of the activity, potential risk, whether it is addictive or not, can be monetized, gain or loss, and stuff like that. If you notice you are intrigued by gambling at the early stage, you must stay tuned with Mabu College here. I get you in a minute after taking a short break, okay? I see you then. Thanks for watching.